Good afternoon. I'm Rick Spencer, Vice President for Institutional Advancement here at Northcentral College. It's great to have you here today for our President Hammond Webcast. We're in the A.A. Smith House, family home of Northcentral's first president, who served the college from 1861 to 1883. Descendants of A.A. Smith have been teaching at and attending Northcentral for generations. This beautiful historic landmark was donated to the college in 2008 by Bartley and Maricela Madden. Maricela was a graduate in the class of 1999. We are so grateful to them. Our alumni and friends are constantly impressing me and the president, the college, how engaged they are with the college and how much it means to them. We're so glad to have this webcast as a relatively new way to connect with so many of you from across the country and around the world. We're going to start out with a few questions that I have for the president, but we really want to hear from you throughout the day. We've already heard from a few of you, and I invite all of you to send us your questions at any time during this broadcast. That's actually a webcast. You can do that through Twitter using hashtag AskPresHammond with a Z. Reply on comments of our Facebook posts regarding the webcasts or email alumni@noctrl.edu with the subject line hashtag AskPresHammond. I hope to hear from you, and now let's get started.
All right.
All right. Troy,
Yes,
you
Rick.
began here at Northcentral College January 1st, 2013.
Yes.
And from the time you started, and maybe even a couple months before when it was first announced at homecoming in 2012, you kind of had a vision. And when you look back at that now, how does that all play out? How do you see that, how it's happened?
Well, Rick, it's interesting because through that process back in 2012, obviously I learned a tremendous amount about this institution. Everything you can possibly learn and put on paper, but you can't really appreciate this place until you're embedded in it, which I've been now for coming up on 6 years. And a couple of things that have just impressed and inspired me about this institution include, as you've already alluded to, the alumni. Mm-hmm. The impact that they have on this institution is phenomenal. And you mentioned the venue that we're sitting in, which obviously is a contribution from alumni. But so many other aspects of what we do have been supported and made possible by alumni and friends of the college who've through their giving and through many other ways have impacted this institution. And we simply wouldn't be what we are without that. And I guess a second thing I would just say that's really inspired me has been the really understanding the culture of this institution and how that comes together to serve its mission of transforming the lives of the students who are on campus. That culture is impressive, and it cuts across the faculty, staff, to a person. The people who are attracted to and stay and persist here at Northcentral College are committed to a culture that is just supportive and very family-like. And ultimately, whether those individuals are thinking about it consciously or not, they're supporting the mission that we have here of making this an amazing experience for students that come onto our campus. And just being a part of that, you can't really appreciate how deeply that is embedded in this place until you're part of it, which I've been now for several years. So it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it has been. It's been wonderful and a lot of successes. And I know when you came here, one of the key challenges was going to be the Science Center and how we could make that happen. And now this past October, we dedicated the Myron Wentz Science Center. Mm-hmm. And from that, it's had an impact on the campus. What kind of impact?
Well, the impact has been very significant. As I mentioned early in my time here, my vision for this institution was that this is an institution that can really rise in stature, can be an institution that sort of, quote unquote, punches above its weight class. And one of the areas that we needed to make a change in, to upgrade in, was our campus academic facilities for us to be able to achieve that vision. That wasn't, in itself, that wasn't a vision that was new to me. You, the trustees, many others, knew for our faculty, knew for a long time that we needed to upgrade and improve our academic facilities, and in particular with a new science center. But I had the pleasure of taking that task on and making it a reality. And through the contributions of our alumni and friends, we've been able to really build what is, in my opinion, the state-of-the-art premier science center for any kind of small private institution in the Midwest. And it's already dramatically impacting the campus, and both in our students and in our students' experience, but our faculty's opportunity to work in the laboratories and work on research projects with students and use the latest technology. It's made an enormous difference. But it didn't stop with the Science Center. Over time, it became it came to be known on campus as Project Dominoes, because there were so many additional changes that needed to happen to make that Science Center a reality. And so now we have the old Science Center got renovated into a fantastic School of Business and Entrepreneurship. We've made significant upgrades in Goldspawn, academic facility, and many others on campus. And so really, when we started classes a year ago, all of those upgrades were complete, and it's been really a changed experience for our students now on campus.
Well, all those new buildings and all that brings, how has that changed in regards to programming, or helped in programming?
Well, yeah, we're working very hard on our academic programs. In specific, those facilities enabled us to do things like launch engineering, which we did this fall. We now offer majors in electrical, mechanical, and computer engineering. And we had twice as many students kicking that program off as we planned for to get the program going. We've got 60 students in our Intro to Engineering program this fall, and that was made possible by some of those spaces. We've also been able to develop a neuroscience major. We started with a minor and been able to move that to a major, an environmental sciences major, and we've been able to launch a graduate program in occupational therapy that also launched this fall, again using space that was in that facility. So it's made a big impact in terms of our academic programs, and it'll continue to do that into the future.
That's great. It's kind of mind-boggling in a lot of ways, a lot in a short period of time. So that's a lot of buildings, programs. But when you get outside you might say the hardware, how about the software and our upgrading and in the future in that area?
Yeah, we've got a lot of change going on. I kind of used those terms in my State of the College address this year, reflecting on kind of the analogy to computers, that eventually at some point, if you have a computer at home, you need to upgrade the hardware, you need to upgrade the software, and for us, the facilities was the hardware piece of that. But the software piece, our faculty have been hard at work for 2 years already in preparing for a dramatic change that will launch next fall, which includes a transition from the 3-term system that we're on right now to semesters. There are a number of benefits of that semester calendar that will, we believe, improve student success, help our students. But as we make that transition, we collectively have decided to take that opportunity to totally revitalize our Gen Ed program. I'm really excited about what the faculty have come up with. We've branded it with the name Cardinal Directions, feeding off of the cardinal directions, small c, you think of as north, south, east, and west. In this case, Cardinal Directions is about the program, the Gen Ed program, that's going to help our students gain direction in life. And it's a wonderful, revitalized program that's very thematic. Our students will participate in courses across their 4 years around a theme that they will choose. There's a number of options for them. Our students have named those icons, standing for interdisciplinary connections. And so students are going to have a fantastic Gen Ed experience that's going to be changed and new for next fall. And then a third change, because that wasn't enough, I guess, is that we've decided to move from 3 to 4 credit hour courses to enable our faculty to integrate more experiential learning and other kinds of high impact practices into those courses. And so that's required our faculty to rethink the majors and minors and restructure them around that 4 credit hour course. And so our faculty have been hard at work at that. This year they've made most of the hard decisions about the structure of that. And this year they'll be preparing to teach those revised courses for the first time next fall. And we look forward to sort of flipping the switch on all of that in August of 2019. So we've been busy. There's a lot of work, but again, this is all about trying to raise the quality and the stature of the institution and really drive toward our brilliant future.
And to get there, it's almost like, wow, so much is going on. But the next question is what's next for Northcentral College?
Sorry, that wasn't enough?
That's okay. Let's go.
I think in terms of what's next, well, in the immediate future is still obviously making sure that those changes that I just described are fully realized, and inevitably change like that requires some tweaking as you go along to kind of fine tune it, and so we'll be working hard on that. I would say another thing is our Brilliant Future Capital campaign that we launched 3 or 4 years ago, with an anchor part of it being raising the funds for the Wentz Science Center. But that Brilliant Future campaign is a really aggressive, significant goal, $150 million goal for this institution. We're more than halfway toward that goal already, which we're thrilled about, but it's still a long way to go. And so so you and I are kind of working hard, but many others as well, at fulfilling that campaign, which is going to help us realize some of the wonderful opportunities that we have, some additional facility opportunities, but importantly, funds for our faculty and additional academic programming, and very importantly, additional funds for scholarships for our students to make Northcentral College, to make an education here a realizable dream for many of our students.
Great. Well, those are a great introduction, and now let's go to some questions that have come in.
Wonderful.
And let me just remind you that through Twitter, using the hashtag AskPresHammond with the Z, or by replying in the comments of our Facebook post regarding the webcast, or by emailing alumni@noctrl.edu with the subject line Ask Pres Hammond.
Great.
So
do we have any, Rick?
We do have some questions. Let's go to the first question. It's from David Murphy, class of 1969, from Byron Center, Michigan, just outside Grand Rapids.
Great, David.
This question: President Hammond, what is the greatest leadership challenge facing presidents of small liberal arts colleges today? Great question.
That is a great question, David. Thank you for sending that in. I would probably point to the fiscal and financial challenges that many small privates are facing, we're all facing, that are driven by the demographic changes that have happened in the United States, across the Midwest and Northeast, primarily the United States. There quite simply are, depending on where you are, 5 to 10% fewer high school graduates right now than there were at the peak, which was about 5 years ago. And you have a sector of schools that are almost exclusively dependent on tuition, room, and board of enrollment. That sector has kind of grown up with the growth of the demographics, and now that turned a corner and has gone back down. And that's put arguably the entire sector in a more strained position from a fiscal standpoint. And I think so across the board, and except for a handful of elite schools that aren't so sensitive to those demographics, the majority of schools are very sensitive to it. Fortunately, Northcentral College has thrived in that environment. Last fall, we had our largest full-time undergraduate enrollment on campus in our history. This fall, we're a few down from that, but still in a very strong position. But to be honest, I don't pretend that we're immune to those demographic forces. They're real and they're challenging. We're going to great strides through new academic programming and aggressive additional efforts in terms of reaching out to prospective students while they're in high school. to maintain that enrollment that we've achieved. But we're going to continue to have to be very aggressive with that, and continue to be increasingly aggressive with our financial aid offers for those students to make it an affordable option for students to come here. So it's a big challenge that leaders across the sector are grappling with.
Yeah. And just the financial aid, a big part of the campaign and building that endowment and the funds for scholarships.
It's incredibly important for us to be able to fill in the gap between the ultimate cost of attendance for students and what their family financial situation is able to bear. There's a gap there, and the more that we can fill that in, the better off our students are going to be, and the better off the institution is going to be. So yes, those that are interested in endowing additional scholarships, our students need it today more than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another challenge that not only North Central but colleges and our society really comes from great alum Ron Isaac, a class of 1971 from Silver Spring, Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C. You know Ron. In light of the Unite the Right rally that took place in Charlottesville, Virginia in August 2017, and requests from alt-right, white nationalists, groups for permission to speak or demonstrate on college campuses nationwide, how would North Central respond if it were to receive such a request?
Well, Ron, thank you for sending that question in. And by the way, Ron, I see you here on campus regularly, and so I very much appreciate that you come back and support our students here and support the institution. And this is a great question and an important one. It's a challenge that's as you mentioned, is present on campuses nationwide. And let me just first say that we have a very strong priority here at this institution to protect the safety of those that are on our campus. And the incident, Ron, that you're referring to specifically was a traumatic one, and it resulted in the death of at least one individual, and that was a horrible incident, and that's something that we want no part of on this campus. But to kind of raise that topic back up to maybe the 30,000 foot level, if you will, this is, you can think about this broadly as a challenge about free speech on college campuses. We have a few principles that we use to think about speakers and other activities on our campus. And as a first principle, because of our mission as an academic institution, we strive to protect and allow for free speech. That it's critical to us carrying out our mission. And so, as a first kind of principle of default, our bias is towards enabling and allowing speech rather than silencing or restricting speech. But secondly, and naturally, there has to be some limit to that. And that comes in a couple of different ways. First of all, recognizing that we're a private institution, not a public institution. Our requirements, we don't have to abide by the First Amendment free speech rights in the same way that a public institution does. As a private institution, we can invite someone to excuse themselves from our campus and go elsewhere. But that's not something that we would take lightly, and we want to, if you will, kind of nestle up as close to that First Amendment as we can on our campus. But one way that we like to think about it to try to process some of these challenges is that if the speech in question specifically has the intent to threaten or disrupt, then that's not speech that we want on our campus. And we would not allow that to be on our campus. In practice, that's not always going to be a crystal clear line. It requires judgment by administration, faculty, the campus community as a whole. But absolutely, there is speech that would cross that line in intent, and we would not want on our campus. I think almost, fortunately, those situations are more the rarity, but they're increasing. I think the more common and more difficult sort of segment of challenges is speech that's not necessarily intended to threaten or disrupt, but is nevertheless hurtful. Speech that's hurtful to to people on our campus community. Oftentimes that hurt is going to be disproportionately heaped on certain individuals in our campus community as opposed to just evenly distributed across campus. Yeah. And it's in those situations that we need to come together as a community, recognize that the appropriate response to ugly speech is not to squelch speech, but it's more speech. It's coming together as a community and creating the environment where we can have dialogue around the thoughts of those individuals that whose speech we consider hurtful, and engage as an academic community, challenging them. Our students, this is a perfect opportunity for our students to gain an education in what it means to challenge hurtful speech with thoughtful and civil dialogue, thoughtful and hard questions that cut at the core of what's so hurtful about that kind of a speech. And if that kind of a learning experience isn't going to happen on a college campus, if those ugly ideas and hurtful ideas are not going to be carefully challenged on a college campus, then where will it be? It won't be in social media. It won't be in most of media that you see today. And so it's an imperative that we come together as a community and not squelch that kind of speech, but challenge it aggressively, but civilly, and in a way that our students are supported and also gain a valuable educational experience from it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm proud to be part of an institution that has that belief, and thank you for giving us such a thoughtful, open response to that.
Yeah,
thank you.
And thanks, Ron, for that question.
Next, from a Facebook follower, Jeffrey Garris. How much money is a college saving through green initiatives like solar energy? I know you like this one.
That's a great question. Well, thanks. For those of you that don't know, you can be proud of North Central College as, truly a global leader in renewable technology and energy. We have the second largest rooftop solar array of any small college in the country on the rec center. We've since then added 2 additional solar arrays, one on our operations center, another on our new science center. And we've had an aggressive program of investing in retrofitting old inefficient lighting with modern LED technology in our indoor track and field facility and our field house and a few other places. And I can't tell you I don't know the exact dollars. What I will say from a payback standpoint is that a number of those projects will pay back through energy savings in 5 years or less. The bigger installation on the rec center will take a little bit longer. I think it's more like about a 10-year payback. But once that time has expired, and it almost has for one of the major LED retrofits that we did, where those funds have been replaced through all the energy savings, then all of those energy savings will flow through to kind of helping us control our operational costs as electricity costs go up every year. And so we take pride in that, and you can be proud that your board of trustees of North Central College has supported that by carving out funds that are enabled to be invested. We call it the Cardinal Sustainability Fund, where we can invest those resources in a project like that has payback, and then pay back that money to the endowment with interest, and it's kind of a win-win for the endowment and for the college. So we've made great strides. We look forward to doing more. I think it's important that I should add that when we do these projects, it's not just about the environmental impact and the financial impact, but with each of these projects, we've sought out to engage faculty and students in educational projects, whether it's Professor Tallman in accounting works with his students on the cost accounting side for these projects. Others in our science faculty have taken on projects to understand and investigate renewable energy technology. So our students are benefiting from it as an educational resource.
Yeah, great. Another question from Nate and Paige Ronchetti, a Cardinal couple, class of 2008 from Naperville. If I'm an alum who doesn't have a lot to give financially, how else can I support the college? Great question.
Well, it is a great question. Thank you for that, because there are important ways that you can support the college. And by the way, even if you can't support the college significantly financially right now, even if you supported a small amount, it still matters to keep you, on the. It's important for a college to be able to show that a large percentage of its alumni are supporting it from a financial perspective. But one very important way that you can support us is by pointing prospective students, high school students, towards your alma mater. Not being bashful or shy about mentioning where you went to school, the great experience you had here, what you found that was unique about this college, and encouraging those high school students that you know to look at us. I mean, even if you can just encourage them to come and make a visit, even if you don't have to just say, for sure it's the right answer for you, it's the best. Just encourage those prospective students to come and visit North Central College to check it out. We know that they'll be blown away by what they find here, not just with the amazing campus, the amazing town of Naperville that we're here in, but also the personal connections, that culture that I mentioned earlier. You just feel that when you're present on campus, and so please encourage those students to come to your alma mater. Other alums have made great impact on campus by coming back and by speaking in classes, bringing the expertise that they have in industry, connecting with professors that you might have known when you were here, and finding ways to speak in classes. And others of you have made impacts by connecting the business that you work for to the campus in terms of creating internships or coming to North Central College to look for new hires into your company. You can really help the college by helping its students make sure that they place into fantastic opportunities when they graduate.
That's great, and interesting because of our location here in Naperville and the young couple that lives here in Naperville and our alums. We had this great opportunity that we have this great community that whether you're an alum or just a friend of the college or a Napervillian or local, you can kind of have that same kind of impact.
Yeah, no question.
Very cool. We have our next question is from one of our professors, Dr. Patricia Bayona, assistant professor of Spanish here at North Central. Her question: Hispanic cohorts have been steadily increasing in the last 3 years, which benefits the college in terms of diversity on campus and as a potentially generous source of new students. What initiatives has NCC developed to further attract this high-achieving Hispanic heritage population?
Oh, well, thank you, Professor Bayona, for that question. Yes, we have been growing steadily every year in terms of our Hispanic population on campus. We have worked very hard in our recruitment process to make it clear that this is a great destination for Hispanic students to come through our visit days, where we very intentionally conduct some of those functions in Spanish. Some of those students that are coming, their parents may not have any English language at all. We want them to be able to come with their son or daughter and to be able to have a great experience on campus, and so we provide a lot of those activities in Spanish language. We have a fantastic program that we offer before classes even start in the fall called Premier Scholars, that we encourage minority and other students to participate in. It's really a wonderful kind of leadership development activity that lasts a week and a half or 2 weeks long before school even starts, where students are able to come, connect with fellow students, and get great kind of a head start in terms of experiences and leadership training that are going to help them be successful once they matriculate and start their classes. And that's been growing each year. We've got a couple of other programs. One through our relationship with the Dunham Fund. We have a program called Teach First that is specifically targeted towards helping students that come from Aurora high schools. And those are differentially Hispanic students compared to some of the high schools that we recruit from. And that scholarship enables those students that want to teach as their profession back in Aurora schools to come with additional scholarship aid.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's interesting. Growing up in this community, being at the college for a long time, It's interesting how the demographics have changed not only in the Naperville community, DuPage County, and the college, and how we've responded to it. Our next question is from a mother of a current student, Kathy Nader. And her question is it true that the school will change names next year and become a university? If so, what will the name be?
Names.
Yeah, it's not going to be Spencer College.
No. Well, I will tell you that's entirely news to me. I was not aware of that. So no, that's not in the plans. But I will say, kind of related to that, we have engaged with a firm called Simpson Scarborough that's going to be working with us through the course of this year on a marketing and branding exercise for the college. And there will be opportunities for campus constituents, all of our alumni, to respond to inquiries that come from them during the course of this year, to evaluate how this institution is perceived in the marketplace in all different sectors. And really from that rich data that's going to come back from that exercise, to think about our branding and how we market ourselves into the marketplace. So we're really excited about that project that's going to last really the duration of this academic year. But no, there's no current plan to do that.
Yeah, that's good. The next question is from Kim Malinowski, class of 2008 in the Chicago area. She asks, recently the school has introduced other departments and degrees to the college, such as engineering.
Yes.
What other degrees do you plan to add to stay competitive?
Well, thank you for that question. We have, as you mentioned, added a number of important things that we think will make a big difference for us over the long term. I'd say in terms of additional programs, we're looking very hard right now at the master's level, at the graduate level. We did just, as I mentioned earlier, start a master's in occupational therapy, but we're evaluating a number of other health sciences opportunities that could be a good fit for us and build on some of our strengths at the undergraduate level. We don't have any announcements to make at this time, but hopefully over the next year we will be making some announcements in that regard. And I would also say that our master's programmings in the business area are receiving a wonderful revitalization and upgrade that we'll be launching soon for a master's in business administration, the MBA program, but also very connected to that, offering a master's in finance and a master's in human resource management. That's something that we're very excited about, what's being developed right now to strengthen our graduate programming in that area.
Yeah, great, exciting stuff. Let's go to the next question from Jim Bambule from Plainfield.
All right, Jim.
Great alum. Artificial intelligence will have a dynamic impact on the job market in coming years. What is NCC doing to help students prepare for and participate in these changes?
Well, thanks for that, Jim. And we are, along with the facility investments that we made in the Wynn Science Center, investing in our computer science program, in part by adding computer engineering to strengthen the overall computer science and engineering program. And we're excited about investments that we're making in that area. We've added new laboratories in that space. We're looking forward to hiring some additional faculty in that space. I talked to somebody the other day. They were joking that their names might be Alexa and Siri, but I don't think that's quite right. But we are.
We should think about it.
We should think about it.
Yeah.
But we're definitely investing in that area, and we know that it's an important one for student demand as well. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with that over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, interesting. Another question we have, kind of a change of pace question from Connor McGurry, class of 2018, just recent graduate. What is one thing you have learned about yourself during your time at North Central?
All right. Well, thanks, Connor. Good question. I think I would say that the role that I play here at North Central College as the president of the institution, there's an aspect of this role that I really love, and I think I've found that is a great fit for me, and that's just the incredible variety of what I get to do on a day-to-day basis. As the president of the institution, you wear so many different hats, from providing leadership on, kind of core business and operational elements to working with the provost and the faculty on making progress and improvements in that area, to working with alumni, to fundraising, engaging with the community of Naperville, local government and business leaders on a very regular basis. And I actually really enjoy that variety that I've not really had previous to this, and so I think that probably stands out for me.
Yeah, cool. We have another question from one of our 1994 alums, Jeff Swallow.
All right, Jeff.
We know Jeff, one of our trustees. Please provide an update on the Shimer Great Book School. It's a great
thanks,
question.
Jeff.
Great, yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, to recap, the Shimer College was a very small school that was focused on one particular model of education called Great Book School. It was a Great Books College, and they were looking a couple of years ago for a long-term kind of solution for their future. It's very difficult for any very small school to persist in this day and age, just financially, and we went through a process that ultimately led to Northcentral College acquiring Shimer College and making it the Shimer Great Book School at Northcentral College. And as part of that, we brought in a handful of their faculty. I think it was 7 faculty to be able to teach in that program. A majority of their continuing students came to Northcentral to finish their program here on our campus versus in the city in Bronzeville on the IAT campus where they were before. So we're now they've been on our campus for a year. We're now starting our second year. And I'm very excited about the future for this program. I think it's very complementary to what values that we have as a liberal arts institution, and for those students that really want to immerse themselves into a small class environment where the classes are all very Socratic dialogue, engagement over great books, over readings, and so it's really great for the voracious reader among us. And I'm excited about the potential for that academic program within the context of a broader Northcentral College, where those students can take advantage of a full college experience while immersing themselves in that program. We are busy learning how to market that program. It's a completely different thing than we've marketed to date, and we've just kind of had our first quick try at marketing that this past cycle, and we to be honest, we don't have as many students coming in this fall as we would like, engaged and interested in potentially sort of majoring in the Great Books program. Yeah. But I'm optimistic about that future. We've learned a lot this cycle, and we're investing more in the marketing and the way we're recruiting for that program going forward. And so I look forward to seeing that program build, and I look forward to a future where we have 100+ students on our campus engaged in that program, and I think that's achievable. And I would just, before finishing on the topic, I think it's important to note one of the unique things that came from that acquisition of Shimer College was close to 4,000 alumni from Shimer College that are scattered across the United States and the world, and we've seen amazing support from so many of those alums to supporting, I mean, both in terms of coming back to campus. We had a wonderful alumni reception for them at homecoming, but also financially supporting that Great Books program, which has really made it a financially viable prospect in the short run because of that incredible support that the alumni have already given the program, and we encourage them to continue and support that. I think that program has a brilliant future on our campus.
Yeah, I agree, and I know you and myself, Adrian Aldrich, and some other of our staff, and Jim Godo, we've had a lot of opportunities to really develop some great relationships with alumni from Shimer, and it's exciting. And I think so many times I walk away from my time with those alums, and I go, they just we just fit. It seems like we're from
That's
the
a good
same
thing.
from the same place, and I think that's why it's going to work, and it's been really enjoyable. A question I have. Just been being again here a long time and growing up in Naperville, knowing North Central for a long time, and North Central being part of Division III in athletics, how important athletics is to a school like North Central. And so if you could just kind of give me that kind of sense of Division III athletics and how that fits into college programs.
Absolutely. First of all, that I'm just a broadly very generic, sports fan. I love competition. I love any kind of athletic endeavor and supporting, probably watching more than participating most of the time these days. But I've come to just so appreciate and love the Division III philosophy of athletics. I think it's hard for people that are outside academia to always appreciate the difference between an institution, it's a D3 institution, where the student truly is a scholar athlete, a student athlete, and the student part really does come first. Those students are not here on an athletic scholarship. They may have significant scholarship or need-based aid, but they're not here on a scholarship just because they're playing a sport. And that has such an impact in keeping the philosophy of it to be a student first thing, an academic first thing. It permeates everything that happens, within the athletic enterprise. And so I'm a huge fan of Division III athletics, and I'm a huge fan of Division III athletics at North Central College. We have a tremendous tradition here of being fully engaged in athletics. I think we have more varsity sports right now than any of the other institutions in our conference, and we certainly have, I think, twice as many national championships as the entire rest of our conference combined.
I like that.
And so that's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
And we've got such a great tradition here in so many different sports. Obviously, Alcarius and everything that we do in running here is just a phenomenal story, a phenomenal history, very inspirational story, impacted so many lives for the better as individuals have come through those programs. But our strength in many other sports as well is just it's a lot of fun to be part of and support.
Yeah, it sure is. Thank you. So we're kind of coming to the end of our webcast, and I got the last question.
All right.
And it comes from our alumni board president, alumni board chair, and trustee Carly Franks, class of 2005. So from Denver.
From Denver.
From
right.
Denver. What are you most excited about in the next 5 years?
Oh, the next 5 years. Well, let's see. On the, as far as the institution goes, Carly, I think it still has to be kind of the big kind of home runs from a fundraising standpoint, seeing those come in to get us over the top with our Brilliant Future campaign. I'm sure you would concur with that, right?
I concur.
Would love to kind of see that happen because it translates into such big impact on our campus. So I really want to see that happen. I think flipping the switch next August and kicking off the new semester calendar with the new Gen Ed program and revitalized majors and minors is very exciting. I'm looking forward all this year to getting on the stage at the visit days when we have prospective students coming in. I like to speak at every one of those that I can, and be able to just with enthusiasm tell those prospective students what opportunity they have in front of them if they come to North Central College. I really look forward to that. And I guess maybe finally on the home front, the next 5 years, well, in the next 2 years, I'm going to see my youngest graduate from high school and move on out of the house. So that's going to be a change of life that I'm still not sure what that's going to be all about, but I think I look forward to that happening as well.
Yeah, it's that's change in life that I know you're going to enjoy. Well, we're wrapping up the webcast.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Prez.
Thanks, Rick.
I think it was great. I enjoyed it. I think everybody out there did. I hope so. One last thing that I would like to say is remember to come to homecoming.
Yeah.
We mentioned homecoming coming up.
End of October.
Yeah, October 27 and 28. And we hope to see you there. You can contact the Office of Alumni Engagement or go to the website. Please do it. It's going to be a great weekend, and it'll be great to be a Cardinal that weekend.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.